Domestic football is back, and what a weekend we've got ahead of us. Can United go to the Etihad and win? We're talking to Andy Mitten, but we're not just about the Premier League. We've got Seb Stafford-Bloor on Hamburg, who may or may not get destroyed by Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. We've got everything you need to know about everything else. I'm Iain Macintosh. This is Football Fast No Faff. Let's go Route 1. The international break has been and gone. Domestic football's back. What's happening this weekend? What does it all mean? Stick with us. We'll give you the tightest, fastest, non-faffiest preview in the business. Producer Helena, send forth the guitars. There's no question as to the game of the week in the Premier League. It's Manchester United visiting the Etihad. And do you remember how this one turned out last season? It was 1-1 in the dying moments.
Martinez is through. Ahmad through the middle, he's got a touch on it, and Ahmad has scored for Manchester United! In the 90th minute!
Ahmad, what have you just done?
Could it happen again? City have lost their last two games, and they deserve to lose their last two games. They don't look comfortable right now at all. United are dreadful, but they did snatch a victory over Burnley before the break, and it's a derby game. Who knows? Andy Mitten is the founder of United We Stand and part of the excellent Talk of the Devils podcast. Andy, are United going to do it again?
I feel it's a Manchester derby where both teams feel like they can't afford to lose. City have had a surprisingly poor start to the season. United have been up and down. They're down the worst bit by a mile, being that horrendous defeat at Grimsby. City have got a lot of injuries, and United won there last year in December. But then we had April's derby, which was horrendous because United had their eye on the Europa League. City were thinking, well, I don't know what they were thinking, but they didn't play well. So the mood is up in the air among Manchester United fans. They've seen some encouraging things so far this season. The performance against Arsenal, even though it was a defeat. The first half performance at Fulham and at Burnley. One ended in a draw, one ended in a win. And put into a context of more difficult games ahead for Manchester United. It's Chelsea the following week, for example. So I think there'll be a nervousness about it. And I sound uncertain about the whole thing because that is exactly how I feel. I'd like to see how good Manchester United are. And I can't answer that question. And I don't think I'll be able to answer it after the derby. But a good performance would certainly give a good indication and how Manchester United need that right now. But then, so does City.
Leaders Liverpool can go 4 from 4 if they safely navigate their way past Burnley at Turf Moor. We spoke about Arsenal Forest yesterday. That's the early Saturday kickoff. Check out that show if you haven't already. West Ham Spurs is the Saturday 5:30. That could be pretty tasty. Tottenham are, as is their way, riddled with injuries. West Ham are fresh off the back of a genuinely astonishing 3-0 win at Nottingham Forest. The low-key high-stakes game of the weekend is at St James's Park, where Newcastle, 17th and yet to win this season, play Wolves, who will be played for, lost for if they lose here as well. There's pressure on Villa too. They haven't scored a goal yet. They have to go to the Hill Dickinson to face an effervescent Everton, led by the rejuvenated and newly crowned Player of the Month, Jack Grealish, who just seems to be having the time of his life up there. The rest of the Saturday threes have Bournemouth facing Brighton, Fulham against Leeds and Crystal Palace against Sunderland. I watched the tape of Sunderland against Brentford this week. They look really good. 2 wins already for them. Finally, Chelsea go to Brentford in the Saturday 8pm kickoff. And why have we got a Saturday 8pm kickoff? Why is that a thing? Don't get me wrong, I love football and I'll watch pretty much anything, which is handy because it's always on, but it's already on every day and in every time slot. What does it need Saturday 8pm? Saturday 8pm isn't for football. Saturday 8pm is for you and your friends, or you and your partner, or you and your family, or just you. It's for going out and falling in love, or staying in with the one you already love. It's for parties and bars and clubs. It's for takeaways and pay-per-view movies and curling up on the sofa. Saturday 8pm is the designated time slot for so many wonderful, life-affirming things. It's not the time slot for a challenging away trip to the GTEC Stadium. Whose decision was this? Who did this? Do you remember? Everyone was freaking out about the Millennium Bug and aeroplanes dropping out of the sky, and the Chinese government ordered all the airline bosses to be on flights at the stroke of midnight. That's what we should do here. Whoever made this decision should be forced to go to the game on public transport, even if they've already made plans with their partner. If we go down, you go down with us. Hey, La Liga looks fun this week. Two of the surprisingly winless starters face tough challenges to get their seasons up and running. Real Sociedad host Real Madrid at 3:15 on Saturday, while Atletico Madrid head to Villarreal that evening. Now, any slips up in San Sebastian, an Athletic Club could take top spot if they beat Alaves. That's on Premier Sports, as is a lovely little fixture to close out the weekend. Valencia-Barcelona, 8 p.m. on Sunday. In Italy, Inter look to bounce back from defeat to Udinese. They play Juventus. Now, Juventus are one of two sides who've won their first two games. The other, Napoli, travel to Fiorentina as Rasmus Højlund aims to build on his goal-scoring cameo for Denmark in Greece. The Bundesliga gets going again tonight. New Bayer Leverkusen boss Kasper Holmund faces Eintracht Frankfurt, who are 2 from 2 and looking good, which is pretty impressive given they had to sell off key players like Omar Mamouche and Hugo Ekitike. Leaders Bayern Munich, also 2 from 2, obviously, host Hamburg on Saturday evening. They've just returned from the purgatory of the second flight, 7-year stint down there, which is astonishing, given that Hamburg are in every sense one of Germany's biggest football clubs. Well, Seb Stafford-Bloor is the Athletics German correspondent. Seb, Hamburg are back. They haven't won a game yet. What sort of state are they in? Could they pull off a shock here?
Strange old start for Hamburg so far. So their first game back in the Bundesliga, they drew with Borussia Mönchengladbach, goalless draw. They might have won that game, actually. They played very well, defended really well. Might have nicked it right at the end. Less good was the 2-0 loss to St. Pauli in the City derby just before the international break. That was at home too, but St. Pauli played them off their own pitch. They were superior in pretty much every department and deserved their 2-0 win. I mean, arguably deserved better than that, really. And so fragility is nothing you want to take with you down to the Allianz Arena to face Bayern Munich. So I think this is going to be one of those afternoons where performance matters a bit more than result. Nobody's expecting a shock. That being said, and looking a little bit further forward, Hamburg have made 3 really interesting additions. So Luka Vuskovic, senior centre-half, he's joined on a loan for a year from Tottenham and may well go straight into the side because, for my money, he's individually a better defender than anybody they have. Further forward, Sambi Lokonga, the number 8/number 6, he's joined from Arsenal. But particularly intriguing is Fabio Vieira, the number 10. Now, one of the issues that HSV brought into the Bundesliga was this inability really to create chances on the front foot, because Ludovic Reis is probably the player who best did that in the Zweite Bundesliga. He was sold to Club Brugge and they haven't really replaced him. And for them to get a player of Vieira's quality, who, he's an Arsenal player, spent last season on loan and at Porto in the Champions League, it's really a coup, and especially so because he spent much of the summer being linked to some very, very high-powered Bundesliga sides. So come the end of the season, he could really be the difference between whether they stay in the division or not.
In League 1, Marseille play Lorient tonight. That is available to you at 7:45, provided you're willing to pony up for Amazon pay-per-view. PSG will put their 100% record on the line at Lens on Saturday, while Lyon do the same at Rennes on Sunday. In Scotland, Rangers desperately need their first win, but the fixture computer could not have been nastier. They host Hearts, who are unbeaten and second to Celtic on goal difference. Now, a win could see Rangers go third. If they lose, they could go 11th. Elsewhere, Celtic go to Kilmarnock, and it's third versus fourth as Hibs host Dundee United. There's a game tonight in the Championship. It's a fascinating one. Who would have predicted that the pre-season promotion favourites Ipswich and Sheffield United would have just one win between them after playing 4 games each? On Saturday, it's all eyes on handsome Rob Edwards and his new Middlesbrough Chargers as they look to go 5 from 5 when they visit Preston. Ryan Mason has made almost as good a start to his tenure at West Bromwich Albion. They're at home to Derby, and they've only dropped 2 points thus far. We discussed Southampton-Portsmouth yesterday, of course. That's your Sunday game. And keep an eye on Wrexham. They host a troubled QPR tomorrow. If they expect to stay clear of relegation worries this year, that's a game they have to win. And in the WSL, we've got Chelsea's 2 leading challengers for the title in action tonight. Arsenal go to West Ham, Man City host Brighton. Chelsea themselves visit Aston Villa in the noon kickoff on Saturday. And London City have their first home game at this level. They welcome Manchester United to the Copperjack Stadium in Bromley. Well, as if Ange Postecoglou didn't have a tough enough start at Forest, beginning as he does with 4 consecutive away games. Didn't think about that, did you, Mr. Marinakis? He'll now be without Ola Aina, who pulled his hamstring while playing for Nigeria. Aina, who was one of the Premier League's better fullbacks last season, will be out for at least 3 months. And Forest can't replace him with loan signing Alexander Zinchenko in the Europa League squad. Submission date was final, and they can't play him on Saturday because Arsenal is Zinchenko's parent club. Struth, mate. Talk about stressful. It's enough to give you Ange Aina. Sorry. Another player injured during the international break who'll be missing this weekend is Manchester City's Omar Mamouche. He sustained a knee injury while playing for Egypt. He may be out for some time. It's a blow for City, but they do have a guy who just scored 5 goals in an international game to take his career tally to 330 in 393. They can't have everything. And good news for football nerds everywhere. The new Football Manager game will be released on November the 4th. It's the first FM for 2 years after the cancellation of FM 25 last season. Now be aware, they usually release a beta version of the game 2 weeks before release. So if we say that this could happen October 21st, I make that 39 days for us all to clear the decks at work, finish off long-delayed DIY projects, maybe spend some time with loved ones before we go off the grid. Use those days wisely. That was Route 1. It was football fast, no faff. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, give it a subscribe, tell someone about it. We'll be here every weekday around about the same time, 5 p.m. in the UK. I've been Iain Macintosh, your audio producer was Helena Fremantle, your video editor was Deane Thrussell, Shaun Nickless was a video producer, Chris Smith was in the writer's room, and Lola, Katz, Roberts and Sophie Manners run website and social. See you on Monday.